You're about to uncover a truth that most men never realize. It has little to do with appearance, wealth, or social status. The real factor that creates lasting attraction is a psychological principle that changes how a woman experiences you. Ignore it and you'll remain trapped in the exhausting cycle of chasing attention, seeking approval, and wondering why interest always fades. Understand it, however, and you'll begin to see why certain men naturally draw women toward them without forcing anything. The reality is simple. Women are influenced less by what you possess and more by how they feel when they're around you. When you create the right emotional experience, attraction grows naturally. This isn't about manipulation or rehearsed techniques. It's about understanding human psychology and the deep emotional patterns that shape connection. Master this principle and you'll separate yourself from the crowd, becoming the man she remembers long after the conversation ends, the man who effortlessly stands apart from everyone else. To understand why this works, begin with one of the deepest human needs, the desire to feel genuinely understood. Every person longs to be recognized for more than their appearance or achievements. Women especially notice when someone appreciates the person beneath the surface. Sadly, very few men offer that experience. Many are distracted, thinking about what to say next instead of truly paying attention. They hear words without listening, and women quickly recognize when someone's focus is divided or driven by personal gain. When you give a woman your complete attention, everything changes. Your presence quietly communicates that she matters, that her thoughts have value, and that you're interested in understanding rather than impressing. Real attraction begins in these small moments. Maintain calm, confident eye contact. Listen carefully instead of interrupting. Notice the emotions behind her words and ask thoughtful questions that encourage her to share more. These actions aren't tricks or rehearsed strategies. They reflect genuine curiosity and authentic respect. When a woman feels truly seen and appreciated for who she is, she forms an emotional connection that goes far beyond surface level attraction. That's the kind of impression that remains long after you've walked away. One of the strongest emotional connections a woman can experience comes from feeling genuinely valued for who she is, not simply admired for how she looks. This is why lasting attraction is built through small, meaningful moments, rather than dramatic gestures or clever pickup lines. The way you focus on her while she speaks, remember the little details she casually shares, and make her feel important without trying too hard, creates a lasting impression that few men ever leave. When she realizes you're interested in understanding her instead of simply winning her over, trust begins to grow. She starts to feel appreciated rather than pursued, respected rather than judged. That's a feeling many people rarely experience. The key is authenticity. If your attention is only a strategy to gain something, she'll eventually recognize it and the connection will fade. But when your interest is sincere, it creates a sense of emotional safety that can't be manufactured. So the next time you're with a woman, be fully present. Put away distractions, listen with intention, and treat her words as though they genuinely matter. See beyond appearances and recognize her ambitions, challenges, fears, and strengths. When you make someone feel deeply understood, you don't just increase attraction. You create a connection built on respect, trust, and genuine emotional depth. That's what separates an unforgettable man from one who's quickly forgotten. Now let's explore another principle that shapes attraction at a much deeper level. Human nature places greater value on things that require patience, effort, and emotional investment. This isn't about playing games or making someone chase you for the sake of it. It's about understanding that anticipation often strengthens desire. When something is constantly available without limits, people naturally begin to appreciate it less. But when there's healthy balance and a little uncertainty, curiosity begins to grow. Many men make the mistake of believing they must always be available. They answer every message instantly, rearrange their schedule without hesitation, and pour endless attention into a woman before any real connection has formed. Ironically, this often weakens attraction instead of building it. Constant availability can communicate that your entire world revolves around her rather than around your own purpose. A man with meaningful goals, personal ambitions, and a fulfilling life naturally becomes more attractive because his attention has value. He's engaged when he's present, but he isn't dependent on constant communication to feel secure. That balance creates space for a woman to think about him, wonder what he's doing, and become emotionally invested. The objective isn't to appear distant or uninterested. It's to live a life so rich and purposeful that your confidence comes from your mission, not from someone else's validation. When your attention is earned instead of freely given to everyone, it becomes far more meaningful and genuine attraction has room to grow naturally. The idea of pursuit goes much deeper than simply making someone chase you. Real attraction comes from becoming a man whose life is naturally worth joining. If you're standing still, repeating the same routines, and lacking direction, there is very little that sparks lasting curiosity. But when you're constantly improving, working toward meaningful goals, and living with purpose, you become someone who naturally captures attention. Many men focus too much on saying the perfect words or sending the perfect text, believing attraction is created through clever communication. In reality, it's built by the person you become. A man with discipline, ambition, and self-respect doesn't need to force interest because his actions speak louder than his words. His lifestyle reflects confidence, independence, and direction. Even after a relationship begins, this mindset should never disappear. Attraction isn't something you achieve once and keep forever. It continues to grow when both partners keep evolving as individuals. When you stop challenging yourself, become predictable, or lose sight of your own purpose, the excitement slowly fades. Strong relationships thrive when both people continue growing rather than becoming comfortable with standing still. So instead of waiting for someone's attention, invest that energy into building a fulfilling life. Stay committed to your goals, value your time, and pursue the things that give your life meaning. When you spend time with her, be completely present and make those moments count. Then return to your mission with the same focus. That's how genuine attraction develops, not through games or manipulation, but by becoming a man whose time, energy, and affection naturally carry value. There's another truth about attraction that many people overlook. Women aren't only drawn to comfort, security, or romance. At a much deeper level, they're attracted to a man who inspires growth. They want someone who adds meaning to their life, someone whose presence encourages them to become stronger, wiser, and more confident. This doesn't happen through constant agreement or avoiding difficult conversations. It happens when a man lives by clear values and has the courage to encourage her toward her highest potential. Many men believe that being agreeable all the time makes them better partners. They avoid conflict, never challenge unhealthy habits, and mistake passivity for kindness. In reality, lasting attraction requires leadership, not control, but quiet strength rooted in conviction. A woman respects a man who stands for something, who remains compassionate while refusing to accept excuses or mediocrity from himself or those he cares about. Of course, this begins with your own life. You can't inspire someone else to grow if you've stopped growing yourself. Personal development isn't selfish. It's the foundation of every meaningful relationship. As you pursue your goals, confront your weaknesses, and continuously improve, you naturally become an example worth following. That influence is far more powerful than empty compliments or constant reassurance. Support her dreams, encourage her to face challenges she's been avoiding, and celebrate every step forward she takes. When your belief in her potential is genuine and backed by your own actions, you create a relationship built on mutual growth. That's the kind of connection that earns lasting admiration, deep respect, and loyalty over time. Now let's get to the foundation that separates confident men from those who constantly seek approval. Women respond less to what you say and far more to what you genuinely believe about yourself. This isn't about acting arrogant or pretending to be fearless. It's about developing an inner confidence that comes from knowing your value regardless of anyone else's opinion. That quiet certainty is what naturally attracts people. Think about the most memorable individuals you've met. Chances are they weren't trying to impress everyone around them. They carried themselves with calm confidence, spoke with purpose, and remained steady under pressure. That kind of presence communicates strength without saying a word. Women instinctively notice this because confidence creates a sense of stability and emotional security. Many men make the mistake of placing their confidence in a woman's approval. They believe they'll feel valuable only if she's interested. That approach creates neediness, and neediness weakens attraction. Genuine confidence works the opposite way. It comes from knowing who you are, pursuing your purpose, and understanding that your worth doesn't rise or fall based on someone else's decision. This confidence appears in everyday behavior. You speak honestly without fearing every reaction. You express your opinions without constantly seeking agreement. You enjoy spending time with her, but your happiness doesn't depend on her attention. Because you're comfortable with yourself, she also feels comfortable around you. Your calm energy creates an atmosphere where attraction grows naturally, instead of being forced. That's the difference between chasing validation and quietly commanding respect. Real confidence cannot be borrowed, and it certainly can't be faked. It develops through experience, discipline, and the willingness to face challenges that push you beyond your comfort zone. Every obstacle you overcome, every skill you master, and every promise you keep to yourself strengthens your belief in who you are. That kind of confidence doesn't depend on compliments or external approval because it's built on evidence you've created through your own actions. Take an honest look at your life. Ask yourself where you're still relying on validation instead of conviction. Identify the areas where fear controls your decisions, then begin replacing hesitation with action. Pursue meaningful goals, improve your abilities, and keep raising your standards. As your competence grows, your confidence becomes genuine, and that quiet certainty begins to influence every interaction you have. Carry yourself with the mindset that you belong wherever you go. Stay humble, remain open to learning, and admit your mistakes without allowing them to define your worth. True strength isn't about pretending to be perfect. It's about remaining steady while continuing to grow. In the end, the greatest quality you can offer a woman isn't wealth, attention, or even affection. It's the confidence that comes from knowing your own value without needing her to confirm it. When you reach that point, attraction becomes a natural result rather than something you constantly pursue. So make the decision today. Stop living with uncertainty. Build a life rooted in purpose, self-respect, and continuous growth, and you'll naturally become the kind of man people are drawn to and remember.